A ghost once told me that our greatest fear is built on a misunderstanding. She said the one thing we all get wrong about death is that it's some kind of final ending. For 10 years, she didn't haunt me. She taught me, and what she revealed completely changed how I see life, death, and everything in between. Before any of this started, I was about as practical as they come. Living in Mumbai, my life was a simple, predictable loop: work, traffic, and the weekend escape. My favorite escape was driving down the Konkan coast to my family's old village, Harnai. It's a world of quiet beaches, fishing boats, and ancient forts, a total reset from the city's noise. The drive itself was a ritual for me, a long, winding trip through the Western Ghats that was especially beautiful and incredibly lonely at night. I was a man who believed in what he could see and touch. All that spiritual stuff, just stories you heard from your grandparents. I wasn't a skeptic, really. I was just indifferent. Then, on a drive back in 1996, my ordinary world just shattered. I was on this dark, empty stretch of road near Mandangat, way past midnight. The road was deserted, surrounded by thick, black jungle. Suddenly, my headlights landed on a figure on the side of the road. It was a young girl, a teenager maybe, standing all alone and looking worried. Seeing anyone out there at that hour was just wrong. Against my better judgment, I pulled over. She asked if I could give her a ride to Anjarle, a village just a little way up the road. She had a sweet, innocent face and a calm voice. She told me her name was Ratna. As we drove, we talked. She told me about her family and a local festival she was trying to get home for. There was nothing weird about her at all. She just seemed like a normal kid who'd gotten into a bit of a jam. I dropped her off right at the entrance to the village. She gave me a warm thank you, and I drove off, feeling pretty good that I'd helped someone out. A few days later, I was back in my village, chatting with a local shopkeeper, and happened to mention the girl I'd picked up. The color drained from his face. He told me that was impossible. He knew the family she talked about, and 10 years ago, to the day, their daughter, Ratna, had died in a car accident on that exact stretch of road, trying to get home for the festival. I felt my blood run cold. It had to be a mistake, right? Some kind of sick joke. But the shopkeeper was dead serious, and every single detail matched perfectly. For a whole year, I tried my best to forget it. I convinced myself it was just a strange coincidence, my mind playing tricks on me in the middle of the night. I even started avoiding that road after dark. But exactly 1 year later, a work emergency meant I had to take that same late-night trip. As I got closer to that spot near Mandangat, I could feel my heart pounding. And there she was, standing in the exact same place, caught in my headlights. Ratna. This time, it wasn't just confusion I felt. It was pure terror. But she didn't look scary. She just looked peaceful. My hands were shaking as I stopped the car. She walked up to my window and said, "Don't be afraid. I'm not here to harm you." And just like that, my real education began. That night, and for years after, on the anniversary of her death, Ratna would appear. She was my guide to a world I never even imagined. She told me that when she died, she didn't just stop existing. She was still around, but in what she called a sukshma sharira, subtle, non-physical body, an idea from ancient Indian beliefs. She was in an in-between place she called Bhuvarlok, a realm that exists between our physical world and the higher heavens. Her death, she explained, was untimely. She still had years of her natural lifespan to live out, and according to the cosmic laws she now understood, she had to see that time through in her subtle form before she could move on. She wasn't a ghost haunting a road. She had a purpose. She spent her time helping other newly passed souls who were lost and confused, guiding them through that first scary transition. I had so many questions. Why me? How come I could see her? During one of these visits, my wife was in the car with me, and she saw her too. It was a quiet little confirmation that I wasn't going crazy. Ratna explained that talking between dimensions isn't easy. It takes a certain kind of subconscious openness, a sort of vibrational frequency match between the spirit and the living person. For some reason, my mind and my wife's was just open enough to tune in. She also told me there are rules. She couldn't pop in whenever she felt like it. The anniversary of her death was a powerful anchor point, connecting her world and mine. She even warned me that talking too often could be a distraction for her, keeping her tied to this intermediate plane and slowing down her own spiritual journey. Her job was to guide, not to get stuck in the past. The biggest test of my faith came a few years into our strange friendship. My family and I were about to move into a new apartment in the city. We'd found a place we absolutely loved, and the deal was all but signed. The night before we were supposed to sign the final papers, Ratna appeared. This was a big deal, because it wasn't the anniversary. Her presence felt urgent. She gave me one simple, chilling warning. Do not move into that apartment. It holds a deep sorrow. And that was it. She wouldn't say anything more. So, I had a choice. Do I ignore this warning from a ghost and make a huge life decision? Or do I trust the spirit who had already turned my entire reality upside down? I chose to trust her. I called the whole thing off, which, as you can imagine, caused a lot of confusion with my family and the real estate agent. About a month later, I ran into an old friend who was a police officer. I casually brought up the apartment building. His face got serious. He told me that the exact apartment we were about to buy had been the scene of a horrific family crime years ago. A dark secret the sellers had conveniently left out. Ratna hadn't just given me spiritual lessons. She saved my family from moving into a place of unimaginable tragedy. After that, my belief wasn't a question anymore. It was an anchor. As the years went on, Ratna's lessons started to shift. We went from talking about the mechanics of the afterlife to the meaning of life itself. She taught me that the universe isn't about reward and punishment. It's about balance and growth. What we call karma isn't some cosmic judge handing out sentences. It's just a simple law of cause and effect, designed to help our souls evolve. The biggest lesson came during what I sensed would be our last long talk. I asked her about fear, about our crippling fear of death. She just smiled gently and gave me the most profound answer I've ever heard. She said, "You fear death because you think you are your body. You believe that when the body ends, you end. But you are not the body, any more than a driver is their car. The body is just a vehicle for a timeless journey. The journey itself never, ever ends. It just changes roads." That realization, she said, is the key to everything. Now look, I get it. Modern science has theories for these things. Researchers talk about near-death experiences being caused by brain chemistry during extreme stress oxygen loss or a flood of neurotransmitters creating vivid hallucinations. And for a lot of people, that's a good enough explanation. But science couldn't explain how Ratna knew about that apartment. It couldn't explain the verifiable, specific information she gave me. And it definitely couldn't measure the incredible sense of peace that her guidance brought into my life. I eventually understood that my experiences didn't have to compete with science. They could exist right alongside it, in that personal, subjective space that science hasn't quite figured out how to map yet. I haven't seen Ratna in a few years now. I have a feeling her time in Buvar Lock is over, and that she's moved on. Her absence doesn't feel like a loss though, because her lessons are now a part of me. The practical man from Mumbai, who only believed in what he could touch now, understands that the most real things in the universe are the ones we can't see. I'm not afraid of the end of the road anymore, because she taught me it's just a bend in a path that goes on forever. I'm no longer indifferent. I am aware. The universe is so much more mysterious and amazing than we give it credit for. My story is just one person's experience, but I know there are countless others out there. So, I want to ask you, have you ever had an experience that you just couldn't explain? Something that made you question everything? I'd love to hear about it. Please share your story in the comments below. Let's explore these mysteries together. Thank you for listening.